I'ma take you through old school flow. Lottie-dottie, we like to party. Don't cause trouble, don't bother nobody. Just a man that's on the mic because you got 6 minutes. You got 6 minutes.
We are going to great lengths, obviously, to remember these three letters. Like, I've been accused of having too many acronyms. This is one I want you to remember. Value proposition. Here's why. Mitch, what's the value proposition for Palo Alto Foods? I'm a customer. Real quick, I just have 2 minutes. Tell me what makes you different. What's the value?
Quality and service.
Okay.
We're the best in the business in the Bay Area.
Okay. What else? Josiah, what's the value proposition for Palo Alto Foods?
Well, reliability.
Okay.
Assortment.
Yeah. Assortment. Basically the largest assortment in Northern California.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
Thought what is the value proposition? If we look at it from the standpoint of RAP, what's their reason? Not our reason, but their reason that they need us. Okay, that's where you got to start, right? That's why we do needs analysis, so we can understand what customers need. So if we can be really strong on what they need, then we can tell them how we align to what they need. And then what kind of proof can we give them to make this, powerful and confident? Can someone come up here and just like stand in front of the screen? Go ahead, Josiah. Why don't you start it out? And what I would love for you to do is to just read the first paragraph.
Reason. Institutional customers are looking for wholesale food distributors that are dependable, easy to work with, and have a massive range of products available from traditional to specialty products that are hard to find.
Interesting. So when you say massive, tell me more about that. How massive?
70,000 products.
All right, so that's the reason. That's what they need, right? Fair? How about the alignment piece? Mitch, come on up here and read the alignment piece to me.
Palo Alto Foods delivers a solid customer experience from ordering to fulfillment and provides a broad line of products from traditional food, snacks, and supplies to hard to find natural, organic, local, and sustainable products and everything in between.
Now, what's interesting is when you say things like that, and we're not saying that you should memorize this. We're not saying this should be a script. These are just some of the things that, as you talk about it, they become humanized by you, and you're able to tell it in a way that's very Josiah and very Mitch and very Brett.
Largest number of world-centric SKUs in the Bay Area, we could say.
Easily.
Lots of stuff like that is going to become part of your vernacular. Karen, would you do us the honor of coming up here and reading the last piece?
50 years of service, excellence in Northern California, serving the biggest names in technology, food service, corporate snack programs, and every other level of institutional business. Our 95% plus customer retention is a reflection of the commitment and partnership that we develop with our customers, and also of how much we care about food distribution excellence.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, and I don't want anybody to ever feel like you're memorizing a script, but that to me, I read that with pride. I want to represent that with pride because it's a badass company, and we have a lot of very powerful things that we can do for our customers. So, any thoughts about our Palo Alto Foods value proposition and the intent behind it, not necessarily thinking about it as this scripted thing?
I mean, to me, the third part's very believable because, out of my personal experience, because in 25 years, I've heard people say bad things about pretty much every distributor in the Bay Area and outside, except for Palo Alto Foods. Everybody has something bad to say about Cisco US Foods or Cheetah or a lot of distributors. Never heard anything bad about Palo Alto Foods.
On a personal note, icing on the cake was one of my first cold calls when I started with Alto Foods. I used to sell to about every account in Los Gatos, and they're still buying from me today. So I still have a great relationship with the owner.
All the butter, all the...
Yeah, I was up against Challenge Butter was, and boy, the first 2, 3, 5 years, every time I'd go in there, he'd be like, well, Challenge price is this, and Challenge that, boy, that sales rep would not give up. He was sending them their price list every week. But we won out. I mean, now Challenge doesn't even go near the place, so we have it 100%. But
Amazing.
yeah, I just talked to him this morning. So, but that was one of my first cold calls that I made 24
Fantastic.
years ago.
This next slide, I think, could be much deeper, because there's a lot more than just on here that's different. But as we were sitting down, I think on Friday when we were really thinking through this content, some of the things that stood out for us about what's different. Pricing's different. How's pricing different, Brett?
Yeah, it's negotiable. So that's the biggest thing.
Contract-based pricing. And guess who's doing the negotiation?
The institutional advisor.
And the correct answer is?
No, we do it at the corporate level now.
Oh.
Yeah. So pricing's not a,
It's beautiful. It removes pricing from your conversation with the chef. You don't have to worry about it.
And will we be surprised at how much of an issue pricing is? Like, will we lose a lot of business on pricing? Will we win a lot of business on pricing? What can we expect walking into it?
For the
institutional
corporate
advisor.
business, pricing doesn't usually come into play. Now, every blue moon, someone will say, oh, Buy Right has it for this price. But then I bring it back to Paul, and sometimes Paul can go in and negotiate a better price with our vendor and change it. But
I always encourage that.
pricing is not a big, I don't get a lot of pricing for my
not for
corporate
those kind of
business.
customers. Yeah, no,
So the pricing piece is going to be more important when we bring on new business, or when we do a business review and their items change an awful lot, right? But going in, do we have to spend a lot of time right now on pricing, or is the big takeaway that we are going to work directly with Paul for now until we figure out how to do it differently? That pricing is going to be set up this way, and I know your team's involved with this too.
Mm-hmm.
So enough about that. How orders get placed, I feel like we've talked a little bit about that so far. I think one of the big takeaways is that we're going to be working with Karen on the ordering piece. So I'm not sure it's necessary to deep dive on it too much at this moment. Just know that we need to figure that out very quickly and get everybody trained up on it. EDI, what's EDI? And what do we need to know about EDI? Who knows before you answer? And don't answer.
yeah, he doesn't get the answer.
And don't answer. Does anybody know what it is? All right, what do we need to know about EDI, Karen?
Okay, so EDI is, we have some select customers that use EDI.
Which stands for?
It's Electronic Data Interface.
Yep.
But we can't make changes to those invoices. We can't make, they send the order over to us. It doesn't even interfere with it goes directly to the ordering process. I don't deal much with EDI because like Bodine uses EDI. They electronically send, we get an email saying Bodine has placed an EDI order, and it goes right into client and it's fulfilled. We can't really change anything. The invoice is automatically electronically sent back to them, right?
Yeah, we do about 60 invoices a night. Go back. They're booked.
It's just our exchange platform
Just our
for how
exchange
information
platform.
travels back and forth, proprietary to the
And
client.
it's a small number of our customers that use it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just
maybe-
just a play into what Nama started with sorcery. I started with Nama with sorcery. I don't know what year that was. You might know better.
12, 13.
13. We'd have conversations, many conversations on how to set it up. I set it up in a database where I send an auto email from my assistant to magic@sorcery.com, correct email, and they would import it in. They give the whole book, the whole thing to Nama's portal, and the orders would come in, they get placed, and then we would collect the orders. So
Is there anything else that we need to know about this, or that won't come up when we're having our?
The only thing is if a customer asks you, can you do EDI? Yes, we can. The answer is yes.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't really fully, I don't get involved in Paul usually does all of
I
that.
do all the tech stuff.
All we need to do is just relay the information to Paul or Nancy that this customer wants to be EDI. It's just the way they place their orders and the way they get billed.
Yes, we do EDI.
Yes,
Check.
we do
Got
EDI.
it. What's the same? The immersion piece is the same. The more we know, I love the saying, you got to know them to grow them. That's true for what we talk about on all sides of this business, and it's just going to help us even more on this side because these are bigger accounts with more substantial and many times larger opportunities. So getting to know them is important. that mindset of coming in and having effective professional needs analysis, to me, is a cornerstone of what being an institutional advisor is all about. We've already talked about that, and hospitality, or as they say, conviviality, is something that we continue to talk about. I don't think there's anything else to say there. Let's have a little bit of a conversation. Relationship management. How do we ensure that we develop and grow our relationships with our institutional customers? How would you answer that question? What does it look like once the sale is made and we're now servicing that account? Because we're really looking at leading up to a renewal, right? Isn't that essentially what we're doing? We want to continue the business. So what happens in the time when we close a business to the time, they're making a decision, or Cisco comes in and they're having that evaluation, whatever it is, what does relationship management mean here?
It means to me being top of mind when they have a need, when there's a desire. And you just brought up Cisco, and we haven't talked about this that much, but the reality is, in a short period of time, we're going to be able to offer to these institutional accounts something that Buy Right and US Foods Cisco can't. I mean, we can be the full service provider, and there's no reason why we have to be limited to just snacks and beverages in so many of these accounts, and we can start grabbing proteins and produce in all of it. And it may start off small, it may start off with the small group of 8, Imagine Culinary. It might start with them and start growing, but the reality is we have a huge opportunity by building that relationship so that when those contracts come due, we're all of a sudden at the bargaining table, and we haven't been there before.
Awesome. How about our cadence for engagement? Karen, how often should we be seeing them?
It depends on every customer.
Okay.
They're all different. Some customers would love to see you every week. Some customers want to see you once a month. Some customers want to see you once a quarter. So it's all different, and you'll learn that very quickly. I know the customers I can see every week and want to see me, but some of them they're busy and they don't want to be bogged down.
It doesn't necessarily have to be face to face all the time.
No,
too.
it could be an email, could be a phone call, could be an in-person.
Look, these are things that I feel like we're repeating that you already know, but the one thing that I think is, so I know you'll figure out what your engagement is, and if these accounts are high opportunity, obviously you're selected to be on this team for a reason. You have the ability to really make a meaningful difference with these customers, and you're going to find the way to get in front of them as often as you can. The piece on the bottom, though, the idea of performing business reviews, to me, is different. How is that different? How is that meeting different, and why is it important?
I feel like to step back from the day-to-day micro stuff, right? We got short of this, or need to procure that, et cetera, et cetera. It's really a review of how is this relationship going? How can we improve? What are maybe some blind spots that we have that we need to improve for you, so that you're not dissatisfied, you're not subtly dissatisfied, you're not leaving space open for someone else to come in and swoop you away.
If you were to standardize a quarterly business review for your top accounts, what kind of a message is that sending them to those accounts?
Yeah, it shows you care. It shows that they're an important client to you and you want to maintain that relationship for the long haul.
Yeah. So I think as leaders, as sales managers, these are the things that we'll continue to focus on and improve and really ask you about, because I think the expectation moving into this is for a quarterly business review. It's what we've talked about on the Cheetah side of the business. It's something that I think we need to institute here. So more to come as we plan. How about this, Karen? What are some of the highlights on the post-call planning checklist here? I see that there's some basics like thank them, update, but getting into the update call notes from the current visit in the call log, work on the task during the call, keep in mind, actually it's these two. Can you speak about these two things?
Update the call log notes from the current visit.
That's in client?
That's in client.
Yep.
It's just a little click. There's a little button that says call log notes. You click on it, you put in, it's very self-explanatory, what department, what date you were there, and then notes from, so I know I'm old school, which I see all you guys, most of you have a little book, but this is my Bible, I call it, and I take notes on every account I go in. There's usually follow-up, like they'll ask me to source new products, things like that. So I try to reflect some of that in the call-out notes, and then it gives me my work to do once I get home that night.
Just a quick note on that, we have different departments, so we do a lot of automation and call out.
Yeah.
So when we require all our drivers to check in with a reason code. We do reason codes for shortages, for errors.
Yeah, products that
And
are refused.
based on that, we
products-
put notes in here, so like the customer got short of this, customer had this experience, something happened from the driver checking.
Yeah, you'll see, if you click on any given customer.
I just
you
pulled the
click
sales.
So I have a question for you, because on the other side of the business, sometimes we have variability with our restaurant advisors. Some use it, some don't. What's the importance of really using this part of the system?
The call-out notes?
Yeah.
It's to give, anybody can look in and get information about that particular customer. So Paul can check them, Paul prints them out, anybody can go in and look, but I use it as a tool to remember, so sometimes I forget. So sometimes before I go back to the next call, I'll make sure that I pull that up and see if there was
What's
something
your
I missed.
guidance, since you're likely not going to be doing it in real time, you might be taking notes, like what's the Karen best practice of making sure that we don't miss this important step, which gives us visibility and a way to not lose important opportunities? So like, what's your cadence? How do you do it?
I go through my call log notes for all my upcoming appointments, but I try to get the big points. I don't.
Like, do you
put
do it
in-
when you come back from a meeting? Do you do it at
Sometimes
night?
I do them on Friday night. Yeah.
Let's be fair though, we're coming from one person doing it. And
Yeah.
to scale this, we have to get this, you got more for Bible, we got to get this going.
Yeah,
The
so
only way to do this is scale it.
Yeah, so this is not there's no variability. This is something that's expected, that these are filled out. This really becomes the Bible of how we organize our business. Got it.
But were you saying also other contacts that are not like salesperson calls end up in that same log, like
Sure.
a driver logs something?
Yeah, you can click on it, it'll say accounting, there might be an accounting issue, like,
Yeah.
they paid a double invoice, or there might be, driver station.
Skipped invoices.
So it depends
Yeah.
on who like the point of contact was for that particular
Yes.
interaction with the
Yeah,
customer.
so I always input his sales, but then Evelyn always inputs his accounting,
Oh,
Jessica. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can go in and you can read the history on that account, any call log notes.
We're
that we
essentially
have.
going to leave this and schedule client meetings,
Yeah,
meaning
could
with the
say
system.
customer wanted to see us in 1 month,
And
so.
Karen will share all of this. We'll make sure everybody's comfortable with how they can access it. We'll make sure that even Paul and gets this as part of the video. We can capture one of these so that it's not just us that's able to move forward from this. But there's no reason why, with success, we can bring on some more IAs as we uncover more and more opportunities.
And I just want to add one thing on there as well. I think something also we've heard from sales reps and Cheetah in general. You go into a restaurant and you get surprised because there was an issue you were not aware of. So this also helps you out. You're able to go look at that call log and see if there's a driver issue, an accounting issue before you go into the restaurant, and you're aware and can tackle that.
Yeah, and I think that part is huge for us because ours is all disconnected, so we don't know what happened actually at the delivery. So I think that's going to be big for us.
All right, thank you. So one of the things that we have been working on and putting the list together is a number of high opportunity accounts that we're going to start with. We're going to begin prioritizing them. How many are there altogether?
Including the schools, 130 and change.
About 130 accounts that are going to be on our new list, divided up by really 4 people here. Our new IA, our pilot IA team. How are we physically going to do this? I know that I've
I
shared
sent
the
you a sheet
list.
this morning.
You already.
Yeah.
So Eddie has already. Thank you. I didn't even see it. Eddie's already segmented the sheet based on the appropriate territories, based on our institutional advisors.
Based on where they live.
Based on where they
Based on
live.
their current territories.
And are those now aligned with the actual institutions that they're going to be calling on?
Close. I mean, it's really but there had to be some, because there's only 3.5. There had to be some, stretching of their current territories.
So, as a next step, you and Paul will work together and make sure that's completely buttoned up. Karen, you'll be able to, share that as well. We need to formally share that list with our 4 IAs, and that will be done in advance, obviously, of going out, which we'll be talking about and scheduling in a moment. That doesn't mean that we can't have our systems training, which is getting you all up to speed and comfortable with client, because that'll be the next step. That's going to take a few days. While we're doing that, we'll make sure we finalize the account lists, have one-on-ones with each of the IAs to talk through that. And as part of that, we'll have either Paul, Eddie, and Karen, or Gabby, or some combination of the group. Make sense? All right.
Where'd you get some of these pictures?
I heard you didn't like the other picture, so I thought this was a lovely picture. I'm sorry, but
Do my hair.
you look like you're at the ball game. That's like a mascot. I mean, like you're rooting for the for the what is it? The Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, Golden State Warriors.
Down 3-1, I hear, right?
3-1.
That's
We're
tough.
at
Tough to
home
be
tonight. They've done it
tough to be a
before.
Warriors
They've
fan
come
right
back
now.
before.
Tough
Against
to
the
be
same
a
team.
Warriors fan right now.
Against
All
the
right.
same team.
So, Karen, this is really what we're talking about here. We've got to. How is this process going to work? How are we going to determine how and when? Like, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think.
Well, did you get a snapshot of the customer list that I made yesterday? Or you
Yeah,
decided?
I passed it on. Eddie took a look at it.
Okay, so it's not in here though. But we have by territory, and obviously we're gonna add in the reps for that territory, just be all databased. Has the contact person, their email, all the address, all that stuff. So it's really, you can just put them into buckets very quickly now that the hard work is done.
Yeah, and that's the whole bit about us getting together with them and really talking about the account list and having that initial handoff. Karen has a much different role for us at first, so we're not going to just start calling on all of them like tomorrow. The process, as we've talked about it, is that we're going to pick 3 accounts for each of the IAs, and Karen is going to accompany you on each of the first 3 meetings. That's 12 meetings. I would imagine, as we've discussed it, that the first meeting is going to be observing Karen. Karen in action, the warm handoff, your ability to ask questions and get to know the decision maker. The second meeting with the next one, maybe you take more of a role. You get comfortable representing. You get comfortable with the value proposition. You lead the question piece. By the third one, you're getting more comfortable. If a 4th one's required, fine. We'll keep going until you're comfortable. We're not going to abandon you in this process. We're committed to getting you up to speed as quickly as possible. And I know that we have really talented people that are part of this IA team's initial launch. So frankly, I think you're going to hit the ground running pretty quickly. But we are going to be there for you for as much or as little as you need. And the minimum requirement is 3 meetings with Karen. And then we'll assess, are you ready to go out on your own, or do you need a little bit more coaching? If so, you'll get more coaching. If not, let's go, kick some ass out there. That's the idea for how. That's the idea for how. The question is when. So I want to open that up to this group. Like, when do we think we're going to be able to take each of the 4 through the systems piece and make sure they're really comfortable, get their hands on it and them playing with it so that it's not just us, have the computers finished so that we've partitioned it and are able to actually have this working on their systems and they're able to log in, blah, blah, blah. How long will that take? Let's talk about the hands-on exposure to the to client. Like, when do we want to set a goal to have that done by?
Well, when will the
We're working with PCIO right now. I don't.
So PCIO is ready today. I'm guessing everyone here on the sales team, y'all have Macs?
Nope.
You have a PC?
Yep.
That makes our life easier. What do you have? Mac. Okay, so after this meeting, we're going to connect with Megan, and we're going to get you a boot camp set up. For you, we're just going to have to get Microsoft Access installed. We already have the license ready, so we're just going to walk over to Megan after this meeting. You'll probably be ready by the end of the day. Brett, we might need a day with you.
All right.
I have detailed instructions how to.
Gabby navigated as well.
Yes.
I have detailed instructions on how to do the install. I poured over it the last couple of weeks, so we're going to get that over to PCIO. They'll be able to do it. Right now, we have a separate team doing it on my side. So basically, the way it works is Office 365 has a suite, and what's cool about Access is that it works great with Word, Excel, Outlook, all that stuff. And, but unfortunately, when Gates put it together, they did not build Access for a Mac. So which is sad, but that's the case. So that's why we're kind of stuck with this partition thing.
All right. So with all of that said, we're going to set some deadlines, and when we set deadlines with this team, we're going to talk about what date that it's going to get done and what time it's going to get done. We're going to get super specific, and we're not going to set a date unless we can meet the date. So if we think that there might be risks at hitting a deadline, then I don't care if it's next month, but let's get the date. Let's make a commitment to getting it done. So computers. When will computers, what's it called, boot camp? When can we boot camp the computers and get them ready and ensure that we can get them in all 4 IA's hands?
So PC will be end of day today.
Yep.
Max will be end of day tomorrow, assuming sales reps get their laptops make it.
So tomorrow's Thursday. How about we say Friday morning at like 9 a.m. That seems like it's very doable, and we shouldn't run into any problems.
And that will be for computer setup.
Yeah, then I have to do my stuff. So
All right, so that's 5:10, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then what do you have to do, Paul?
I don't build it myself until PCIO gets up to speed. I have a team overseas that builds it at night. So if we could say we got 4 machines, I think they could do 4. I'd say 2 machines a night, maybe 4 machines. But we have to build SSH. We call it tunnel that goes. It's all cloud based. So we have to build tunnels.
So what do you think?
and
What do you think
But
the timing would be?
I think middle of next week is what we should. Middle of next week.
And we're committed to having it done. Like
As soon as we're done building the machines, cut it over to me and we'll have to.
give me a date where you know that there's nothing going to get away and getting in the way of us hitting it.
If we have 4 or however many Windows machines on Friday, Wednesday next week,
So
I have to have them on Friday. And Sunday's a big night to do this.
Well, you're going to get them on Friday because we committed to 5:10 at 9 a.m. So you get them then, and then do you need an extra day buffer in there or not?
We should, just in case.
Today's the 10th, I think it's the 12th.
Yeah, Friday's the 12th.
Oh, sorry. Today's the 10th. Okay, Friday the 12th. So
let's put Thursday.
So Thursday of next week is what?
And Paul, do you need their physical computers, or do they just leave their computer on at night?
Log me in. Yeah.
Okay.
18.
All right, so 5:18, end of day, we will have the installation complete.
Sorry, so for clarification, maybe this is a Daniel question. The computers need to be given today to be done by 5:12, right? Yeah. We can clarify with Daniel.
So
But
Paul's
isn't
not
here.
here.
Exactly.
So again, this is why I get crazy about deadlines. Paul's not here. That's going to be, so I know you're Paul's manager. When do you think?
We can have him bring it today.
Okay, great. That'd be good.
I'm sure, let me ask him. But I'm
All right. So these dates are contingent upon that, and we really don't want to wait. We don't want to waste 1 minute if we don't have to. So we get that done. 5:18 is the installation for all the computers, and then Karen, from your standpoint, if we know that we have 4 IAs that you're going to want to take through the system and expose them to client and really spend some quality time together, helping them get comfortable. Well, how much time will that take, do you think? When do we want to say we're going to be able to have those 4 IAs spend time with you and gain that knowledge and have the exposure?
Are you talking about meeting them one-on-one or doing a little powwow here?
No,
I
we
mean-
do it on, it's most efficient online. We do Zooms or whatever to literally just dig in hard.
Yeah, I would prefer a powwow, or if they can't be here, a person will Zoom them in, but give us like an hour crash course on it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I'm available to do that anytime, but you think in an hour they could learn client?
Yeah, what do you think is realistic
It
to go
depends on
through?
the aptitude, technology aptitude for each person. It's a little different, but.
And are you
it's short-
expecting them
it's
to be able
half-
to enter orders after that hour?
I would say
Run
get
reports
business
and-
intelligence,
Okay.
and that could be that.
Is it a one-on-one? So one of the things that we want to do is walk through it. The other thing we want to do is get their hands dirty and have them like work through real life situations.
Doing
Is that
like
a
a-
90-minute meeting?
Maybe, yeah, that could probably be, and
So why don't we schedule that for the 18th and the 19th?
Yeah, I'd say Thursday or Friday next week.
And does that is it better to do that on Zoom? Is it better to do it live? What do you think?
I would say live, because, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
Right.
on your computer and I can sit right, you
Yeah,
know,
it feels like being together.
Say the
I
19th
would
just in
think-
case there's an issue with the installation.
That's another thing, yeah. Maybe have
What's the
PCIO
date?
on call. Paul, you have your IT vendor on call, like for that session in case whatever didn't get set up correctly.
So what are we saying then?
Oh, I'll confirm it. Once it's working, I
5/19,
take it from
just in
there. They
case.
only do it's a
Give you
one
one day
and
buffer.
done for them.
If there's
And-
issues with the install.
I'm the IT guy.
Yeah, so if we back this up to the 519, then it screws the whole schedule up if we don't deliver on the 518. But you're comfortable with the 518, and we're going to do 519. Does that work for everybody if we schedule 90 minutes on that day? I am only asking two of you, Mitch and Brett.
18 or 19, you said?
The 19th, it looks like we're gonna schedule 90 minutes on the 19th.
that's Friday the 19th. Paul,
Yeah.
and what are the chances of maybe having Nancy sit in on that too, so that there's two of us?
Oh,
It's Nancy,
no,
oh,
I-
you're gonna
I'll
be in
be-
there?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's my client, I wrote it, so, yeah.
No, I'm just saying it.
No, I think, you and I just do it, yeah.
Okay.
Look, we'll have Nancy, we'll have Karen, we'll have Paul
So
there. That'll give us a
519
lot of
for a
hands-on,
90-minute.
like, coaching throughout it.
Yeah, if we're here, we just have all the resources here, so.
Yeah, and maybe we can create a little, a new situation where we can really get in and like, practice looking around and all that stuff. Okay.
I'll check in on the schedules.
And then when do we think we want to start going on customer visits?
As soon as they know client, yeah, we could start the next week.
Be the following week.
So we said 3 each. What's the Monday of the following week?
21st, 22nd? Yeah, 22nd.
22nd.
What is it?
So customer visits, what did you say, the 22nd?
Mhm.
All right, so on 5/22, from 5/22 to what date do we want to commit to getting 12 meetings completed? Because that's going to give the 3 that we talked about for each one of our IAs. And I ask you this question, like, what do you think is realistic? Is that a 2-week exercise? Like,
Well, I don't know what territories you're speaking of, but if like we're going to the East Bay or something, could we be doing
There's
all 3?
basically East Bay, which is the 880 corridor.
Okay.
There's San Francisco and Marin.
Okay.
There's South Bay, and then there's just the Tri-Valley.
right, so we're gonna take each IA, we're gonna pick 3 opportunities in that list, and we're gonna do the customer visits together and make the physical handoff on those, and that's gonna be our training ground. And I always like to start on customers that aren't the biggest ones. I mean, like this is our opportunity to really practice. I'm sure we'll be effective and successful, but whatever we can do. So what do you think? If we had a range from starting at 5/22 through X date to get these 4 IAs trained up and exposed to our customers with you being there, that's 12 meetings for you, Karen.
But will we be doing 3, like I'll meet with Brett and do 3 in that same day?
I would leave it up to you to work with the IAs, because I don't think we'll be able to be so prescriptive on scheduling, because we're sort of so no, I think that over a certain period of time, we should get them out. And I don't know if it's more effective that over these 3 days, I'm gonna do Brett, and over these 3 days, I'm gonna do Mitch.
I
I think you
think,
can
yeah.
work it out because
Okay,
it's your schedule.
okay.
But what I want to get is a commitment of starting as early as 5/22 and completing these 12 meetings by what day? Yes, Brett.
I think you got 5/22 is training. Gabby, I looked. You have one-on-ones, but I think if you cancel those because the one-on-ones were with players in hand, we do that training on Friday like 10:30 to noon, 10:30 to 12:30.
That's on the 19th.
Sorry, the 19th, and then Monday the 22nd through July or June 2nd. That's 2 weeks. You could do all 12 there, but the 29th is Memorial Day, right? So it gives you like 9 business days to get these 12 meetings done.
Yeah, I think we have to just look at this through a lens of being realistic, and I know I'm putting you on the spot by asking, now, but there's not a wrong answer. I just want us to be committed to, if we need till 6-9, the second week of June, to have these 12 meetings, then we commit to doing it and make sure it happens. And we're just gonna determine that date now. So what do you think it needs to be? 5/22 to 6 what?
Try and get it done in 2 weeks.
12 meetings in 9 days should be doable.
Yeah, it's like a meeting and a quarter a day.
Does that take us to 6/2?
I think whatever the Friday is of that week.
What is the Friday if someone could?
How dependent is it on
I
your
believe it's 6/2.
these 12 customers being like, yeah, I have time. Let's
I know.
meet.
See, that's the thing.
That's what I'm
looking into
wondering.
is you're getting into graduation weekend, or the schools. But
We're
I
not
don't think
doing
we're gonna
schools.
school.
We're not doing
Okay.
We're not gonna do school, so they're all
We're okay.
BNIs, so
We're
that's
okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see there being
Yeah,
a
you're
problem. By 6/2, so by 6/2, and I guess it just depends on. I mean, I would prefer if I'm driving all the way up to San Francisco, I'd prefer to do more than one call.
Sure.
And come back the next day to
Yeah.
San Francisco again.
Yeah.
We don't have, the good news is these are not junior
Yeah,
salespeople.
it's not
These
like
are
they're
really
right-
seasoned folks that are
yeah.
gonna pick this up quickly.
So I'm thinking I
So-
just do a kind of a general introduction, warm introduction, and maybe I talk to the customer first day, the second day, we go to a second one, and maybe.
Mitch has already, you've been on 2, 3 already?
We did 2 days together.
And we could go
but
back
we've
to
done
some of those that you did
5,
with
6
Paul.
meetings total.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah,
those 2
Nick,
days.
so having been through this, what do you think about this approach of having Karen with us for, like this number of meetings? Do you think that will be helpful? Do you think it'll be?
Oh yeah, I
do you
think
it'll
especially
be more?
initially it's huge. I think we'll get signals from the customer how much they need it a second or a third time. They'll kind of let us know by the interaction in the meeting. A lot of what I've done with Paul so far is just sort of like reintroduce and remind them that, hey, we're Palo Alto, we're here, this is what we're doing. You've used us in the past, you're still using us a little bit. We have this huge expanded catalog, so there's a little bit of that side of it, but in general it's just like, let's get to know them a little bit. Let's get to know each other.
So to clarify, it's 3 customers, 3 visits. Or you're talking about 3 different
Three
customers?
visits per IA. 3 different customers.
Yeah, so 3, so
I
it's
challenge
one
that a
visit
little
per
bit.
3 different.
It's gonna be
yeah.
different, it's not a one size fits all, it could be less. Like you, Global Gourmet, great one.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
maybe we go
One and
back
done,
to some
he's
that
it.
he already.
So,
But right now,
depends.
we're just talking about the introduction meetings to 3 customers.
Yeah, we're doing 3
not talking
handoffs.
about following up.
That's right.
No, yeah. So
But I think especially the ones that you have deep relationships with or that end up known you for years, it's much more imperative that like we see them, you're there, they see
Yeah.
that we're together, that type of thing. But like I said, I think the customer will let us know. If we kind of like Global Gourmet, if we hit it off with these people right away, then I'll feel more confident that like, yeah, you don't have to come up here a second time. Let's go
Yeah, you
see
could
them
just-
again.
yeah.
But if it's somebody that's like, they're really not feeling that, like maybe Karen's not going to be there in person
no,
anymore.
I don't think I have that relationship. I mean,
No.
I think they'll be open to
Yeah.
more visits.
Okay.
This is just about us getting
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And you've already been on a couple, so you may find your first one with Karen that you're taking the lead because you're
Yeah.
ready to do that.
Yeah,
Others may not.
that's
So
fine.
again, that's the approach that we're going to take. We're going to get 12 meetings done by 6/2. That's awesome. I can't wait to have a plus delta on like what we learned from this first foray in, and then it's like, all right, are we ready to really go with this? In the background, what's going to happen is Eddie, Gabby, myself, and other leaders, I'm sure. I mean, Daniel, Chris, and Paul will have a chance to, really think through the sales operations piece of this, the compensation piece of this, the commission piece of this. I think this presents a really, really awesome opportunity, and we want to make sure that this team is really motivated to do this. So that's what we're going to be working on. I can commit to you that we're going to. What do you think? What's the date that we want to commit to right now to have that completed? That piece of it. And I know it's not relying on any one person here, but I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. and certainly Chris, you'll be weighing in on this too. But like, when do we want to commit to having that piece of it buttoned up?
I think we should have it before they go on their visits, which is 5/22. So probably system's over, you should have everything buttoned up by 5/19. That's more than enough time.
Agreed.
So the question is, do we think 90 minutes is enough on the 19th, or do we want to block like a morning again?
We should, let's put more time in.
Yeah, maybe block 3 hours and just spend less,
Yeah,
right?
everyone's schedule starting at 10:30 on till 1 o'clock should be good. If we just bring a pizza in or something like that, we'll keep hammering out.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
So we change 10 to 1?
Yeah, I mean, I can set up the meeting on Google Calendar, but let's just put 10:30 to 1 tentatively.
But we're doing it in person.
Yeah.
All right, and thank you. You'll set it up, and anything that you need to, anything we need to do in preparation to then, we'll, as a leadership team, figure it out. But I think we're in pretty good shape for that. Yeah, I think we're good to go. The only thing left that we have is we wanted to get the catalog in your hands. So what we have in front of here is a Palo Alto Foods product guide for each one of you. We'll make sure Paul gets one. Pass one back to Patrick. This is so get familiar with what's in there. Karen, what advice would you give in terms of?
Well, this is the catalog that Paul put together that's included a lot of cheetah items. So it's cheetah items and our top sellers, correct, Paul?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, why don't you just walk us through what's-
100-page one.
You don't have to take us through all of it, but what essentially are we going to find in there?
Well, you're gonna see a full offering now. We're bonafide broadliner with specialty integrated into it. So you just, if you're sitting there watching TV at night, they ask you to work at night, well, maybe just read it. Read it like you're reading,
But this is not inclusive, it's just kind of the big movers.
this is the RS stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so it's all regular stock.
Yeah.
So the whole book is regular stock.
Can you clarify that? When you say Bonafide Broadliner, is this
Well,
like
Cheetah's
with?
broadliner in my opinion.
No, I know, but I'm saying, is this now with Cheetah SKUs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blended.
So I guess, yeah, Shapiro.
We publish, just so you know, we publish our entire catalog, our entire Cheetah catalog. We publish it to Palo Alto Foods with pricing updates and so on and so forth.
Okay, so like
So
some of these,
That's where that data.
so some of these SKUs are Palo Alto SKUs, but it's really being sourced by Cheetah.
Yeah, the trick will be there'll be a Palo. This is a cheetah item right here, the 121 180. That's your on the end of the description. That's cheetah.
Is there
Oh, the 6-digit.
So you
The
could
six
like
digits.
in our website you could order the item by our item number or Cheetah's item. We don't care. Or Unify's item number or Dot's item number for that matter.
It'll be identified by all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we pick up our search is pretty sophisticated.
And as you'll see, there's, all right, regular stock. There,
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, Karen, and Karen, I'll ask you, is there any advice that you want to give the team in terms of just getting familiar with what?
Yeah, familiar, I mean, there's yogurt shop items in here. I think yogurt shops are a great business for us going into the summer season. We make a lot of money from yogurt shops. So if you pass by a yogurt shop, drop your card, tell them you'll quote them. We have a yogurt book in client that you can actually email to the customer that night. You can email them all of our yogurt. We have everything for a yogurt shop.
We didn't even talk about yogurt in this meeting, but we have
No,
everything
we
to
have-
run a
It's
yogurt
more
shop.
focused on the Libby and I opportunity.
Okay,
right?
so yeah, but there's, if you look in here, there's snacks, there's proteins,
Proteins are built cheap.
This is it. This is what we're coming out the gate with, right? And this will, there's opportunities galore to expand this.
Sure.
But this is where we're getting started, and that's it. I know that we are 5 minutes from our promised completion of this morning. Is there any other thoughts or questions that anybody has?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of go back to the question I had earlier, right? Which is like, I'm thinking about the corporate team here, and there's moving of chess pieces right now. You're bringing in, sales reps from Cheetah over to here, right? And I guess for me, it just helps to paint a little bit more of the picture of like strategically, like right now, this has been a lot of how to Palo Alto Foods, right? But I'm looking more at that, like why to Palo Alto Foods, right? So what I'm hearing is the whole Cheetah catalog is now here in this. business, right? So if I go into a meeting with Karen, there's really no reason for me to pull out the Cheetah app. We can be doing all the sales right here, right? So what I'm envisioning is us 4 reps helping out Karen, is helping alleviate her. She can go open up new accounts. We're helping, and then we get to expand the whole catalog to them and say, like, yeah, wow, look at all these new items that are in here, X, Y, Z, right? We're the guinea pigs. We'll get used to that. Then we can help bring in other reps to do that as well. Is that correct? What are the other macro opportunities we see in doing this with? This is the first stage of cross-pollinating. What are the other macro opportunities for us?
I think that there is an entire region of institutional new business that we haven't touched.
Yeah.
And the ability to build capacity
Yeah.
and confidence, and us
Yeah.
being able to represent, this lineup
Yeah.
is an opportunity to get really good at serving the institutional customer.
In your
Not
case-
just, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, in your case, there's only like 7 or 8 Tri-Valley accounts.
Right.
But there must be 100 institutional businesses in San Ramon.
Absolutely. So
Pleasanton.
in your opinion then, so I will start off.
Right next door.
So
Yeah.
I'll start off training with these 7 accounts as basically inside sales for Palo Alto Foods, right? And then look at those 100 others. I would assume that because the whole Cheetah catalog is here, if I step into those doors, I should really just be putting on the hat of Palo Alto
Yes.
in order not to have any confusion, right? Because all the catalogs here, we still yet have to take Palo Alto into the Cheetah app. Is that correct?
Correct.
Cool. Yeah. So that's where I'm just at. I'm like, how do I frame myself as I'm walking?
You just did it very well.
Thank you.
You're walking in as there's really no difference between
No.
Palo Alto and Cheetah in the sense that we all come from the same place. We're all under the same roof, but you are out there representing Palo Alto Foods at the moment.
Yep.
Chris, you in agreement with that?
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Are we going to have some business cards that we can switch between?
We'll have those for you by the time you are out there, and that's a good question. Do we want to do RA, IA, one side, the other side to make one card, or do you feel like you need to have your own individual Palo Alto food cards? What would you prefer?
Or Palo Alto Foods, powered by Cheetah with the logo on it. That's
Yeah,
another option as
yeah,
well.
that could be good.
We'll figure it out. We know that you need to go out there and have something to hand out, and over the next few days, we'll make those happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a quick question because I had to take this meeting. Maybe I missed it while I was gone, but is this a scenario where we are being paired up with Karen on a specific set of accounts? Like each one of us are working on a specific set of accounts with us? Is that okay? Got it. That's what makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be like our training is learning the ropes by working with an existing account. And then once we know, and by the way, Palo Alto and Cheetah SKUs are all in here, right? So that'll be us learning the ropes with a current account, which will free up Karen to also go out and acquire new accounts. And then once we're familiar, then we can also go represent Palo Alto Foods to new institutions as well.
So these ones that we're butting up with, they're not used to buying the SKUs that now exist in this
Right, there's a
book.
whole new
Correct.
catalog.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
they've been
Okay.
introduced, I've introduced them to them, and a lot of them have seen this, but now getting them to buy them.
Yeah.
Got it.
Getting them, and you guys, that's where I'll rely on you, because you know the Cheetah products a lot better than I do.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be hugely important for us to before going to any meeting, we should really have like a planning meeting going into that meeting where we're sitting down with you, looking at your customer intelligence with them, what has been their purchasing history, what business do we owe, and then looking at their operation, their catalog, what are they not buying from us, what can we come in and start taking?
So that's part of it's not just going on a meeting with Karen.
Yeah.
It's taking part in the pre-call planning with
Yeah.
Karen for each one of them. You're absolutely right. And then by the time you're out there, you're able to see in slow motion. You're able to do the pre-call planning on your own. And guess what? They're still here for us.
So a quick question for Karen. When you look at this, like this is a laundry list of new things that we can sell. So let's imagine we're paired up on a list of accounts and we go to look at that first one. My gut tells me that you will already know some of the opportunities of things that we might potentially be able to start selling them now that they've never bought before. Is that a safe assumption?
Some like proteins.
Yeah.
And you have an extensive cheese selection.
Okay, so
Our
you've
cheese
already
selection.
got some
Yeah.
institutional knowledge
And
about
proteins,
everything.
cheese, produce. We've never sold produce.
Great.
So those are all avenues. Canned goods. You guys have an extensive canned goods selection that we have not had. Dry beans. You know, some things that we've always chased our tail on.
Yeah.
So
you guys stock in your warehouse all day long.
So categorically, traditionally, Palo Alto has really just been like dairy products and like specialty grab items.
We've had all that, but not to
No.
near the extent that Cheetah has.
Yeah, so-
your dry beans, we part 10, you guys part 3 pallets, 5 pallets.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
during
different.
COVID, a lot of those categories shrunk because we didn't have the resources.
Yeah. So the biggest ones it sounds like that we're really picking up on is produce, meat, right? And
all the dairy, the low hanging dairy, we were a powerhouse in dairy, and your basics, your 10-pound cheddars, probes. You can make the laundry. I can give you the list right now.
yeah, for sure. I think let's make that part of that training on Friday is just kind of hearing your excitement of where we're expanding, right? So we can jump on that train with you and
Sure.
I'll say dairy's one of our strengths.
Yeah.
Anyway.
yeah.
It's not just
Better standpoint. I mean, you're saying it's a natural starting point.
And expand on the compostables. We are the bona fide largest world-centric distributor in Northern California. That's what I say. I make that claim, and it's a truthful claim. We have the largest selection.
And
At the best
expanding
price.
on-
At the best
Expanding
All right,
on the
what
regular
other
stock
questions
stuff.
do you have before we wrap this up? Are you fired up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna close the meeting. We all have our recap. We have already gone over it. Here's our schedule right now. We'll make sure we recap the dates and get that out to you. Make sure everything's on the calendar. Make sure that we are buttoned up as we approach this. But like the one thing that we need to do more than anything is get a group picture so we remember this day and kind of chronicle the historic moment for Palo Alto Foods. So I think that starts with this song. And let's all go over to the green screen. Oh, I can't do that while I'm sitting.
So I'm great.
Can you help me out?
The lights and everything?
So are they open
Oh yeah, they're hyped about
Yeah, should I cover my cheetah?
You have some Palo Alto Foods, Carol? Wait, there's a major mistake. There's no swag of Palo Alto Foods.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'll sit in the back
Okay.
as a tall person.
Okay.
I feel like this is just a very tall group of people.
All right, everybody has to get in between the lines of the green screen. All right. So, what are we gonna say? 1, 2, 3, 1. Patrick, lead us. You got this.
It's Palo Alto, right?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Palo Alto Foods.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Palo Alto Foods.
Bye.
All right. Great job, everybody.
I'ma take you through old school flow. Lottie-dottie, we like to party. Don't cause trouble, don't bother nobody. Just the men that's on the mic because you got 6 minutes. You got